Hello, my name's Phil and I work for the Consumer Services Department at the Hozelock head office in Birmingham. With over 50 years horticultural expertise, we at Hozelock understand the rewards of gardening and want to help you to get the best from your garden. So in this video I'm going to run through the procedure of doing an annual service on the 1500 Hozelock air pump. Before we start, I just need to make a couple of points clear. Firstly, we need to make sure that the air pump is disconnected from the mains, which is what I've done here. And the second thing to note is that because we're possibly coming into contact with something that's been in a garden pond and in contact with pond water, I'm wearing safety gloves just to protect me from any contamination. So to start the annual service, we need to turn the air pump on its back so that we can remove the 4 securing screws that hold the top onto the base. With the screws removed, we can now turn the unit back the right way up and take the top off to reveal the internal workings of the air pump. First thing we're going to do is take off the 2 outlet pipes, because those are included in the service kit, so those will be replaced. So we'll take both of those off. They just pull away like so. The next thing we're going to do is remove the base plate from the bottom of the air pump by taking out the screws again. With those 6 screws removed, we can then remove the diaphragm assembly from the base, and here we can see the air intake filters, which we can just pull out and replace with the ones that are in the air pump service kit. Make sure they lie nice and flat in their appropriate recesses. There's also a sealing gasket that seals the base of the diaphragm assembly to the base of the air pump, which we'll also take out because again we're going to replace that with the one that comes with the service kit. Make sure that it sits in its groove nice and securely. So with that gasket nicely in place and everything sitting in the groove nice and properly, we can put the diaphragm assembly back into the base and secure the screws again. So we've secured the 6 retaining screws to hold the diaphragm assembly back into the base, and now we can proceed with changing the actual diaphragm valves themselves. To change the diaphragm on each side of the assembly, we just need to take out the 4 securing screws and remove the diaphragm assembly from each side of the motor. So removing the 4 bolts, we can take the outer diaphragm assembly away. You'll see that the actual inner diaphragm is secured to the central shaft with a small nut. So what we need to do now is, using a pair of pliers or a very small spanner, just remove that nut. With the nut removed, we can now withdraw the securing washer and the little thin plastic washer that goes behind it, and then withdraw the entire inner diaphragm like so. So we're going to replace all those parts with parts that come in the service kit. So taking the new diaphragm, lining up this round boss here with the little round cutout in the body of the motor, push the diaphragm onto the 4 pins, making sure the bolt and the 4 pins come through the centre of the diaphragm, and refit the new washers that come with the annual service kit, like so, and finally refitting the nut to hold them all together. With the nut fully tightened onto the diaphragm, we could now refit the diaphragm in its location and then refit the new outer cover, making sure that the pipe outlet points towards the connection there where we're going to connect the new outlet pipes later on, and then refit the 4 bolts to hold it all together. And finally refit the air pipe back onto the base connection and also onto the diaphragm connection, like so. Make sure they're fully pushed on and that there's no kinks in the pipe to block the airflow. And that's it, we've completed changing the diaphragm on one side, and we're going to repeat the operation exactly the same for the other side. So we've carried out the same operation to change the diaphragm on the opposite side, and we're now just going to refit the air pipe assembly back onto the diaphragm. Like so, and that's the assembly completed. The next thing we're going to do is change the main sealing gasket that seals the base of the air pump to the top. So we just need to lift this gasket out, and we're going to replace it with the new one that comes in the kit, making sure that we get it the right way round. It will fit either way up, but we need to make sure that the outlet end is at the outlet end of the body and the electrical end with the little cutout there is in that part of the body, and fit it into the groove all the way around, including the screw holes. Take a little bit of time just to make sure that this is done really properly, because this keeps the weather and the rain out of the air pump and make sure that you don't get water getting inside. Okay, so we've fitted the main sealing gasket to the base, and now we're just going to put the cover back onto the air pump and refit the 4 screws. So that's the base reconnected back to the cover. The last thing we're going to do is change the little air filter that's in here by taking out the single screw. Taking off that cover, you'll find a large black square gasket which can be just pulled off and replaced with the one that comes with the service kit. And also there is a small foam gasket there that can be removed, and the one that comes with the air pump service kit refitted in its place to replace it. And then the cover is just screwed back on again. And with that refitted, that then completes the annual service on the Hozelock 1500 air pump. That's it, job done.